One now. Let's go. Hello. Welcome to Bubble Tea League Season 5. Yay. Okay, cool. So, first things first, we'll go through our master doc. If you don't know where the master doc is, now is your time to learn. So learn here. Under the Bubble Tea Discord channel, the one with the two anime chicks that are animated and junk, that one. There is the specific section that you should be on if you are in the groups, which you are because I put you in there. It has all the Bubble Tea League channels, all the text channels. So Bubble Tea League Scrims, Bubble Tea League ship posting, Tournament Room A, Tournament Room B. And then you have your BTL channels, which are all the ones that we made. Cool. So let's go through one by one real quick because using Discord is pretty much the most important thing you could possibly do for Bubble Tea League. I know a lot of people use Facebook groups and stuff like that. We don't care if you do that. Cool. Do your thing. But we don't recommend it. I saw Dan go into that one. I see you.
Yep.
Okay. Anyways, so yes, please use Discord. We expect you to use Discord. If you go to a team and say, but I only use Facebook, I only use whatever, then if they tell you to use Discord and they all use Discord, then get fucked, use Discord. No exceptions. The only exceptions are if everybody else wants to use Facebook, that's fine. That's your decision to make, but if your team is using Discord, use Discord. So, with that said, pay attention to these channels. People will tag you in these channels. Bubble Tea League should be like quote-unquote business stuff, so like the channel postings, when games are scheduled, all that stuff. None of the shit posting, that's why we have a shit posting channel. So, yes. Scrims is just to set up scrims with other teams. Pretty self-explanatory. If you think we need a channel for something else, like if you think that we'll eventually need like a competitive ruling channel or something, God forbid, like give me a heads up, or we might make that on the fly. But yes, and then the tournament rooms are the rooms in which teams will play. They're locked, and only people in the Bubble Tea League itself can actually get in those rooms. So like randos won't jump in and be like, hey, what's up, guys? That kind of thing. The caveat I would say with tournament rooms is that if you are a spectator in a game, you should not hop into any tournament room unless you are a member of the quote-unquote council, which I'll explain in a bit, and you are there to like help on like competitive decisions, right? If someone is being late and stuff like that and they need somebody to hop in and like talk to them and tell them what the other team is trying to do to fix it, or if there's a pause and the other team is doing all that stuff, the other team should not hop into a room. So if you're in team B, you should not hop into team A's room. You should tell us, like whoever's watching the game, the organizers or the quote-unquote council members, and we'll do that communication. We don't want you hopping in while they're saying like, oh yeah, we should definitely like gank this guy bot, you know? We just want it to be like a closed loop between teams. So cool. That's pretty much it. If you are a spectator, scrolling down the chat, you should be in the BTL spectator chat, which is an open channel, but that's just where all the spectators sit. There will be a person streaming each game. That person varies from game to game. It just won't be a person in the game, but generally be me or Joe or Sopa or just pretty much anybody. We would like at least like we've been able to film all the games and put them into this video archive tab, which I'll show you guys in a bit. From previous seasons, we would like to continue that, but sometimes it's really hard to like find somebody that filmed the games. Yeah, so hopefully you guys have your Twitch set up and stuff like that. We won't necessarily ask you to like film games all the time or anything like that, but sometimes like me or Joe and Soper are all like unavailable, we're in the game and we just can't film it. So yeah, hopefully we have some backup somewhere. We should probably figure that out more so. Cool. Anyways, that's pretty much it for Discord. Anything else for Discord, Elena?
The Discord, did you explain the team chat rooms?
Yeah, I guess I'll explain it. We have BTL team chat rooms here. I have them all muted. Unfortunately, because I'm an admin of the channel, I can't make myself not see them. So for instance, like I could go into this chat and see what they were typing. I don't want to, but yeah, just as an FYI. So if that means that you guys don't want to use the room to discuss your secret strategies and stuff like that because I could potentially see it, I understand. Like, I would say trust me, but if you don't trust me, that's totally fine. I get that. So if you don't want to use that, if you want to make your own BTL chat room thing, etc., that is totally good with me. I'm not offended. So, but they're here if you want them. If you really don't trust me, you could just use them to like schedule and stuff like that. It's still an easy place to reach out to everybody else on the channel. So totally get that. Cool. Okay. Anything else for the Discord? Okay, cool. Okay, we'll move on. So, we'll move on to the master doc. This master doc is pinned under Bubble Tea League. So don't forget that. If you guys ever ask me, where's the doc, like, I'm just going to be annoyed and tell you it's pinned onto Bubble Tea League. It's been pinned here for like ever. This is the orientation video for last year. We're going to unpin that and repin this new one once we're done. Yep, I think that's pretty much it. Okay, so it's the actual doc that we have. It has currently 6 tabs and a bunch of hidden tabs that are all the archive tabs from old times and some other random stuff that you guys don't need to know about. The first tab is the most important tab for most of the tournament. It's just the schedule and standings tab. So this tab has everybody's head-to-head records, which honestly just like 2-0, 1-0, blah blah, or 1-1, 2-0, or 0-2. These are the ones that we'll use to break ties. They will like 99% be ties at the end of the regular season, and we'll use as many head-to-heads as possible to break ties. There may be tiebreaker games at the end of the season, hopefully a very limited amount of them. Side selection and stuff like that for those will be determined by average game victory time, and since we have videos of everything, we can calculate that relatively quickly. The standings thing is unfilled, but you'll have the standings overall for each team, and each team will be seeded into a playoff format. But yeah, so this schedule tab is mega important because we expect teams that have finished scheduling to update when they're playing games in the date time tab. All these dates are in PST, so just make sure whatever time you set it up, even if your team captain's in CST, everything should be in PST so everybody else knows when games are being played. You should also, if you do set a time to play games, you should also message in the BTL chat, hey, we've set our time like at here, this team versus this team is playing at this time on Wednesday or something like that. Yeah, it's just not everybody checks this like all the time, so it's good to have everybody pinged. Okay. To explain how this doc works, blue side is over here, red side is over here. There's no like choosing sides and stuff like that in the regular season. Yeah, some teams will have 4 sides or 4 games on blue, and some teams will have 4 games on red. It's just the unfortunate circumstance of having a 7-game regular season per team. So yeah, we just kind of randomly selected it. Like it looks like NIP has 4 games on blue. It looks like TGB has 3 games on blue, stuff like that. Yeah, it's just a little unfortunate, but the meta might change over the span of like 7 weeks, so maybe red side gets better at some point, maybe blue side gets better, like whatever. We're just gonna bet on it now that it won't matter that much. Okay, that's pretty much it for that. This playoff structure is not yet complete. We're still thinking about ways to have a playoff structure for 8 teams where every team gets to play best ofs, but it still rewards regular season performance. So there's the classic playoff structure with 8 teams where you have 1 seed playing 8 seed, 2 seed playing 7 seed, etc. But with how volatile a 7-game regular season is and how close these teams will likely be, an 8 seed over 1 seed upset is relatively likely, and it feels like we just played 7 weeks for none of it to matter. So we're thinking about how to make these playoff systems work. Right here is our 6-team playoff bracket. It looks very similar to the LCS bracket if you are aware of the LCS, or it is the current LCS bracket. What we might do instead of say seeding like let's say 1, 2 as buys, I don't know, 3, 6, that's crossed out, whatever, 4, 5. What we might do is ladder up to 6 and say have 7 and 8 play for the right to play 6, and then whoever wins that actually takes this seed. That way everybody gets a little bit of best of 3 action, but we still have rewards for being 3rd and 4th and rewards for being 1st and 2nd. So if you have any other fancy ideas for playoff format that's fair but quick but gives advantages for regular season, reach out to me or Elena or whoever, and we can talk about like what's best for us. So cool. Anything else on schedule, Elena?
Schedule? No. Not until you get to the rules.
Okay, cool. So this is the team rosters tab. This is really straightforward. It just has the rosters for every team and has the OPGG link. If you click on this link, you'll go see a gigantic, I'll just do it. You'll see a multi-GG, thanks to Joe for doing that for us. Yeah, super easy. This is the sub list. We'll explain exactly what you can pull from this list, but long story short, before I get really into it, if I had to sub like a gold player or something like that, I would start with the gold section and go down. We want to not necessarily punish teams that have someone subbed out against them, so like you're not going to sub out a gold player and put in a diamond player, and then the team on the other hand is like, what the fuck, you just subbed out this guy for somebody better. That's not fair, and we'd rather you play with a bronze player instead of your gold player if you had to, and nuke your team for having the sub instead of the other team who's just staying there like, oh my god, I just wanted to play a game of League of Legends. So that's why the sub list is here. We'll go through more rules and restrictions on that in a bit. This is the penalty sheet. If you have penalties, we will give you a mark, and it's just like a little mark, like boom, a mark. There are a variety of things you can be penalized for. We'll go through that in the rules documents, but behavior, tardiness, which is the biggest one, scheduling, which is another big one, and then all chatting. Yeah, and then there's also stuff like here, pro draft errors, late subs, etc. We've had issues with tardiness in the past and scheduling issues in the past, and like honestly, the only thing I need to say about that is that if you're dramatically late or something like that, you're inconveniencing 9 other people that are playing the same game as you that all have professional lives. You're also inconveniencing anybody that set up that stream and is watching that stream, and every spectator. So you're inconveniencing like 15 people at once. And if that doesn't make you feel like shit, I shouldn't be late to things, then honestly, I don't know what will, and it's kind of sad that I'm talking about that. So don't be late. Yes. Okay. Stat Doodle page. This is just for lulz, I guess, but we set up a page where we kind of just like tabulate all the stats and pick ban stats of every champion in the game. So after every game, this page will update, and you'll see things like, oh, how many games, like percentage-wise, was he picked in? How many games was he banned in? Blah, blah. So if you just wanted stats because you're a stat head like me, then there you go. Cool. Okay, we'll skip this real quick. This is the video archive tab. This is not updated, but whenever we play games, we will upload the videos. We'll paste the pick ban. We'll paste the post game, make any comments like, oh, they missed the ban, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so if somebody isn't doing that in the spectator, teams are still expected to screenshot their pick ban from pro draft and also screenshot their post game. So please don't forget to do that. The videos will be done by spectators. Yeah. Okay, so this is the most important tab. This is the rules and precedents, rules and restrictions tab. I don't know why it's called rules precedents. This is dumb. Let's just do it the rules. Boom. Good enough. Cool. We wrote this very haphazardly a while ago. We cleaned it up a little bit, but it's still like unclean and whatever. Like if we have, there's probably a ton of like little issues and stuff like that with this. And if you notice anything funky, then you should give me a heads up, or give Elena a heads up, or Jenny a heads up, and we'll try to fix up as much stuff as possible. So basically, this exists because we've had people do a lot of random things in our league that have gotten them kicked out or have pissed off a lot of people, and we're just trying to make sure like everybody has fun. Everybody like plays fair games, and nobody is doing something that is mean or inherently bad for our league. That's pretty much it. Okay, so there's a bunch of definitions, whatever, just ignore that. Okay. Actually, the only one that you shouldn't ignore is the council and actually the team captain. So the council is a governing body of the team captain and a proxy from each team. Decisions are made on a 2/3 majority basis. So that's one captain or proxy of a captain if they don't want to be in the council for each team, or if they're not around for each team. So for instance, every team will take that team captain, or if they want to elect a proxy, we'll take them. We'll put them in the council. So that's 8 teams, 8 people in the council. And if, say, I'm playing a game versus Anne-Marie's team, and me and Colin are in that game and we're council members, quote unquote, that means there are 6 other people that are making decisions on that game. And if there's something that we pause for and everybody's arguing, like, oh my God, you know, that's unfair, you couldn't have done that, blah, blah, blah. Those 6 people make the decisions that the teams must abide by. So yeah, pretty straightforward. This is just to make sure like I don't have a crazy amount of power and I just like pause the game. I'm like, no, you guys forfeit, and then, you know, all that junk. Okay, team captain is important because it's pretty straightforward what they do. They schedule, communicate with other team captains, ensure the team is kind, blah, blah, blah. We wrote in all caps, don't rely on your captain to do everything, because they shouldn't do everything. They should just be like, hey guys, we're going to play this game this day. Is that okay? Okay, thanks. But things like filling out your when is good, things like helping out with scheduling, especially if your team captain is busy, things like being on time and getting subs, you guys should all pitch in to try to help your team like not suck and help your team have fun. It really sucks with that one guy that is team captain just because I asked him, hey, can you help me schedule stuff for your team? And they were very nice and said yes. Like, it really sucks if they have to do everything and treat you like little babies, and don't let them do that. That's messed up. Be an adult. Yeah. Okay, let's go down. So we're going to use ProDraft for everything. prodraft.leagueoflegends.com. It's for a variety of reasons, mostly because not everybody has every champion, and if you wanted to early pick a champion, but the person picking first like doesn't have it, or you can't like trade champions and it's all fucked up, yeah, that sucks. We're using ProDraft so we can get around that. Yeah, we're gonna do tournament style pick bans, blah blah. If a ban is unable to happen for a technical reason, like your client froze, your ProDraft crashed, drafters you made with the same pick bans that previously occurred, tell us instantly. If anybody's a LCS referee like Mr. Omar here, like he knows, like stop it before the other guy makes the ban and just do it really fast. Don't rely on the in-game chat to do that. Like ping them, or like hop into the spectator chat and be like, hey guys, like this is happened, like blah blah blah. Just be fast, because sometimes people don't look at the in-game chat in the lobby. So yeah. Okay. If a ban is unable to happen for a non-technical reason, you just like can't find the champion in a ban because you're late. To not lose the pick ban, immediately join the opposing team's Discord channel to explain reasoning and give the intended pick ban. I actually don't really like that. I feel like you should tell the organizers, and the organizers should tell them. It might make it slower, but I don't think you should be hopping into the channel because they might say something that you shouldn't be hearing. So I think I'm going to edit that. So let me mark that. Edit. Okay. Okay. Yeah. If the next champion is banned or picked, the ban is lost, no remakes. So yes, don't be slow. Okay. In case of violation that results in a ban loss, first round bans will be taken in numerical order. So yep, first round ban is gone. Second, blah blah blah. Okay. Okay. This is really important, and you need to remember this if you don't remember nothing else about ProDraft. If you hit 0 seconds and you did not lock in your pick, so not just like pick it, but you didn't lock it in, it will random pick or it will no ban if you're at 0 seconds. There's no grace period on that site. It's not like our client where it gives you a couple extra seconds to be like, oh my god, I know you're an idiot, but please make yourself not an idiot. That doesn't happen on ProDraft. So with that said, like a lot of this stuff will happen. It happens every single time. We get it, but make sure that you follow the rules ahead. Like, hey, make sure like you tell somebody before the next champion is gone, all that stuff. Don't just like sit there and jerk off and then come in after the next champion is picked and tell everybody, oh my god, look at that pick, because champion picks that people make later might be contingent on what you just randomed. Okay. Trades must occur before the 20-second mark before load-in. If this is violated, we'll force players to play with the champions they had at 20 seconds. We will literally cut you out of game and make you play with the champion you had at 20 seconds. So if the client is preventing you from swapping before this mark, immediately inform the other team before 20 seconds, or inform the organizers or something like that. We might need to make that edit too. But yes, if the client bugs out and you can't swap, we tell somebody. Players may swap lanes. If I am a mid laner and I pick a top lane and I go top and my top laner goes mid, even though we're in LCS order, that's okay. Like you can swap lanes, you can go wherever the fuck you want. Only substitutes must have roles declared before the game begins or series begins. That's really important though, because whatever you declare your substitute as, say they're like you got to sub your mid laner, and you're like, hey, he's subbing mid. You cannot just role swap him to top lane. Whatever your substitute is declared as when you declare your substitute is the role they will play. So don't mess around with that one. It's just to make it easier for teams that have subs against them to prepare for those subs. And then teams do not have to notify opponents about lane swaps that do not concern substitutes. You can just lane swap at will. You don't have to tell someone, hey, this guy's going to go top. Cool. Okay, speaking of subs, pull from the official sub pool first. So that is on this channel right here. People need to fill out discords. I'll do that and I'll like start on that process, but that's these people right here. Whoops. Find the sub closest in skill to the player who will be absent. The council must approve any subs. The team subbing in a player will not have a vote. So that's 7 people that vote on, hey, is that sub okay or is it not okay? If an official sub cannot be found, then a player from a third-party team or outside the sub pool may sub. Before resorting to this rule, teams must demonstrate evidence showing their attempts to recruit all subs of appropriate skill level or below. Sometimes on that list, you just can't get anybody of appropriate skill level or below. Then you can get it from a different team that's not playing at the same time. If one of those guys can sub for you, or you can go outside the sub pool and you can pick somebody and stick them in the game. When you do that, you must say like, hey, like we tried to recruit everybody, look some of our logs and stuff like that, and we were like, okay, you tried and nobody was there, so it's okay. And we still have to, the council still have to approve subs. Okay, subs should be ready 24 hours in advance. Ready meaning you should have told the other team 24 hours in advance before your game, hey, we are subbing X person in X role. If you are late and it is within 24 to 12 hours before the game, you lose a ban. If it's 12 to 6 hours, you lose 2 first round bans. 6 to 0, you lose all first round bans. And if a team does not have a sub at the scheduled start of the game, triggered start of the game, the team will automatically forfeit. So that's a rule. This will mention like, hey, sometimes there are just situations in which that isn't possible. So that's our emergency clause. I'll skip over a couple of lines real quick. Our emergencies will be handled on a case-by-case basis with a preference towards an emergency sub. If a sub cannot be found by the scheduled game start time, we will default to reschedule. To count as an emergency, players must attempt to make contact at their earliest possible opportunity. The council rules whatever that each situation constitutes or does not constitute an emergency. Emergency subs will follow the rules above except for the timing, essentially, and will warrant an extra ban granted to the victimized team. So we wouldn't follow these. Like, let's say last minute, like 1 hour before the game, somebody's top laner is like, dude, my mom is like in the hospital, or hopefully something not that dire, but my mom's in the hospital, I just can't do it. That's fine. Just try to find an emergency sub. You won't lose bans, but the extra team, because they have to prepare for someone with such late notice, will gain an extra ban, and they'll tell the organizers what that ban is. Cool. Teams may sub a maximum of 2 members on their team in any given game. The maximum is down to 1 in playoff series. So you can't just sub like 3 of your members. If you're subbing 3 of your members, either reschedule or you have to forfeit. 3-member subbed is just not the same team. So that's not how it works. And playoff series, since we're doing best of, so we just want down to 1. It should be like a more pure like team versus team kind of thing. And then your core team doesn't have to reveal roles. New additions to the sub list, run through a league organizer or somebody on the council. But yeah, me, Elena, Ginny, whatever. New additions will not be considered part of the official sub list until a week after submission. So you can't just submit someone to the list and be like, oh yeah, can I also play him tomorrow? Like, no, you have to give us a week so people are like ready for that guy. Okay. All chat. So this happened because we had unfortunate chatting from certain players that will not be named, but we will penalize all chatting in the window past 2 minutes in game and before 30 seconds until Nexus explosion. You may all chat during pauses for issues and keep chatting issue related. And during pauses is very important here. If you have an issue, you should pause for it. Things that are not okay to type include and are not limited to, not even close, baby, wow, I suck, OMG Smite King, nothing like that. For more context, feel free to reach out. TLDR, don't be a dumb fuck and don't BM. Adjudicators which will determine what is and what isn't permissible. Okay. Spectating guidelines. Both teams should not enter spectators' Discord lobby until after 3 minutes have passed to avoid spoilers for the game. We are 3 minutes delayed on spectate. So if you're like, you just win the game and you hop in, you're like, oh my god, that was such an easy game, blah, blah. That sucks for everybody watching. Don't do it. Spectators should not go into team Discord channels before, during, or after games unless given by permission by the team in chat, or if you're a council member, or essentially here. Exceptions may be made by arbiters who must patch the information or expedite the game process. Both teams use those 2 tournament rooms in the Bubble Tea chat. Streamers must be in lobby by scheduled game start unless both teams have agreed to wait. If the streamer is really late, we won't wait for them unless people have time, essentially, but we're not going to delay a game and inconvenience a ton of people if the streamer is late. Yeah, sometimes you just don't have the video. Hopefully we have somebody as a backup, but sometimes it's not possible. Spectators may not talk to players in between games about strategy, play, etc. So even between games and series, don't message someone like, oh my god, you should have banned this. That it's not just like talking, I should say talk to or message. Okay. Tardiness. If a player is not in lobby by game time, the team will lose 1 ban every 5 minutes up until 15 minutes, at which point they will forfeit, so don't be late. If a player communicates they will be late by more than 15 minutes, their team will forfeit. Rule will be enforced unless there's been prior notice. So sometimes, like a couple hours before, somebody is like, hey, I'm going to be late for like 30 minutes. Like, I can't help it. Sorry. Is that okay? Yeah. Prior notice about lateness must be given 6 hours beforehand and given to the opposing team captain. Opposing captains must approve. Okay. Whoops. Did not mean to click on that. Okay. When is good is what we use to schedule games. Availability info must be submitted via when is good by Thursday midnight for the coming week to the team captains. Captains' proxies must have scheduled games by Friday midnight PST. This isn't usually a hard rule, but we've had teams so late on scheduling that we had to make a rule for it, so here it is. Your when is good should be submitted, or everybody should have filled out their when is good by Thursday midnight. Yes. Games should be scheduled with a preference for Sunday and Monday nights. It's not always going to happen that way, but we should aim for those 2 days. Most of us have been told that, hey, I can play on weekends, and some people are like, oh, hey, I can play on weekdays. Like, sometimes it just won't line up, and you'll have to sub 1 or 2 people, but hopefully we aim for Sunday and Mondays so we don't have to do that as often. Scheduling rule violations will result in a strike. 3 strikes will result in deferred status for playing in future seasons. If you have a bunch of strikes in this season too and you're just generally an asshole, we can also kick you. We reserve that right to do so. Okay, times on when is good or times that are actually 100% good. Don't just like be like, oh, I might be good on that date. No, people are actually using that to schedule. Don't fuck around. These rules apply to both regular season and playoffs. Once a game is scheduled, put the game date time in the schedule and standings tab and at here in the BTL Discord channel. I already said that. If a captain can show they have attempted to schedule with the opposing team, you have chat logs and shit, then their team will be exempt from any schedule-related strikes. You won't get a penalty if you're trying to schedule with the other team and they are totally incompetent and they just cannot get their shit together. You won't get a penalty. They will. Okay. Best of 3 series. Games in a best of X will be separated by 10 minutes from Nexus Explosion to the start of Pick Ban. All games must be played in one day, back-to-back, unless there's absolutely no recourse and we must split it up multiple days, but we want to simulate a best-of-3 scenario where you're, like, in a marathon, you're, like, trying to, you know, change your strategy and all that stuff, trying to untilt, like, that's what we're trying to simulate, so try to do it, you know, one day back-to-back. Team must give side selection by the 3-minute marker after Nexus Explosion to a spectator, preferably a council member. The spectator will immediately give the opposing team their next side at the 3-minute mark. You may message somebody on the other team. We're still going to hop in as a spectator and be like, hello, by the way, what was your side, blah, blah, blah. But you should not hop into their team chat to tell them we're blue. Stuff like that, just because you might hear something you shouldn't. Okay, behavior, no BM in all chat during games or in lobby between best of X games. Teams violating this may have bans docked from the next game they play against the victimized team. The council will determine, and potentially the victimized team will determine what is BM and what isn't BM. Okay. Prizing, first place team will receive 2,000 RP per player. I guess I'll gift it, or another rider will gift you RP. Second place team will receive 1,000 RP per player. First place team will receive special BTL Discord player. Yay. Okay. There's a bunch of tiebreaker rules. You don't need to know. You can read it if you want. Hopefully we won't have to deal with that until later. Yes, and then if there, I will think very hard if there are bigger ties than 3-way ties. It's gonna fucking suck if there are. Let's just hope that doesn't happen. Cool. And that's it. Dude, I speed ran that shit. Is there anything else?
Question?
Yeah, anybody have questions? This is the best time to answer or ask questions because I will answer. Anything?
I was thinking of just a suggestion for the playoffs of those that came in first and second that they like have opponent preference, I guess.
They will.
Okay.
Specifically when they come in first and second here after the bye, they will choose whoever comes out of this part of the bracket. If, you know, we have a ladder and everything going into it.
Okay.
Even if there was opponent let's say as opposed diametrically to a 1v8, 2v7 system, even if they have a side selection or opponent selection, it's not enough, I think. So, like, yeah, we add that on top of what we currently have.
Cool.
Any other questions? We got time. It's almost Thanksgiving.
Do we get extra points for wrecking you, Brian?
No, because you won't.
Damn it. I quit.
Why am I answering hypotheticals that won't happen?
Because you're secretly scared.
Omar, you want karaoke on the weekend? Wait, what?
Let me ask Yana. Karaoke.
Alright, any other real questions?
We need
Oh.
emojis from people still.
You need what?
Emojis.
TM emojis. Not all of us can design team emojis, so.
I just want a picture of Brian.
Any other questions regarding the tournament or anything like that? Scheduling, blah blah, anything that was unclear? I don't know. No scripting, by the way, stuff like that.
I think we're good for now.
We're good? Cool. Okay, it's really straightforward. If you take away anything from this, for all the spectators out there that watched this video and actually got this far, which, hardcore, I guess, thanks. Don't be late. Don't be fucking late. Okay, that's all. Thank you. I'm gonna stop the stream now. Goodbye.